I think it's a terrible idea. Right off the bat, I think it's an absolutely terrible
Thank you.
idea.
You read my notes.
Yeah. They already have so many problems with all the qualifiers through and the international breaks. I think it's a good idea to bring it down to 1 month of qualifiers, of just qualifiers. That sounds like a good idea. Um, while remaining every 4 years. Um, I think having that reduces the possibility of major injuries. There's a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say palpable disconnect, but there's a lot of passive aggressiveness between national teams and the players' clubs. I've seen it at Chelsea all the time. With throughout the years with different players with different national teams in Europe, South America, wherever you can imagine, Africa, wherever you can imagine. You've seen instances with other teams, not just Chelsea, that really makes you think, man, they have to find a solution for this because there are so many problems that have come up. There are players who will gotten injured for their club, won't play any games, and then get called up for the national team and play. There are guys who are in the form of their life. You have to stop in the middle of the season because of these international qualifiers. They go and they have a major catastrophic injury that disrupts these amazing seasons that they had. Off the top of my head, Nicolo Zaniolo
Hmm.
out there in Italy. The poor kid is just a beast and he can't get healthy. Every time he gets healthy, he goes out there and plays for Italy and tears another ACL. It's like it's someone has voodoo. And it's really been one headache after another with these qualifiers. That all being said, I can't imagine how if you say you reduce that to 1 month, right? Say you have it at the end of the season, great. That takes away a lot of the problems. But how do you fit in these major tournaments? Because it's the World Cup. It's not. Let's just add a Mickey Mouse Cup at the end of the season. No, this is you're adding the major cup tournament. You're adding the major tournament every 2 years instead of 4 years. It's just you're. It's going to be more high level games, more intensity in these games, uh, more pressure on the players. It's just asking for it, and unfortunately, how do you really rationalize moving up the game? So having the tournaments every 2 years, having the Euros every 4 years, so every 2 years or every other World Cup you would coincide with the Euro. So I don't know how you would make that coincide. You would have one in the winter and one in the summer, and those are two major tournaments in the mid. And then that model, you'd have one in the middle of the season. So there goes the whole logic of having the qualifiers at the end of the season. And uh, yeah, I don't see how it's feasible in any which way. I really don't. You look at what happened with Andreas Christensen. Oh, sorry, Andreas Christensen. I got Chelsea on the mind all the time. Um, Christian Eriksen. Sorry, it's just the names. The Danish names are so similar. You see
Hmm.
what happened with Christian Eriksen with the heart attack that he suffered. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but the immediate outcome, the immediate uh, cry from the players was, "Well, you have us playing a game every other day, essentially at this point, with a week of vacation. What do you? These are high level athletes who get tested every week, every hour by these amazing doctors that they have at these clubs who pay much more than hospitals can even fathom. And this can happen to these guys because they're worked to death. How I get that they're multimillionaires and they get paid an astounding salary, but you're asking for it. Like you're genuinely asking for it. And it doesn't surprise me that someone who has the bravado and the clout of a Sergio Busquets is already standing up and saying, this is a terrible idea. This is not going to hold up. Players are going to explode because that's exactly what's going to happen.
A couple of things I want to emphasize on all of that. That was amazing, Chris. Thank you. I think you speak for many people. You speak for me for sure, because that's how I feel as well. And I think that was very well put. And thank you once again. Like, dude. I mean, whenever you speak, it's just gems. You just keep dropping them, and this is a perfect example of that. You sound like you're on Sergio Busquets' side, right? That's what it sounds like, and I think we can all agree that players will explode. Maybe, hopefully not literally, but those bodies they can only keep up for so long and for so much. And you also mentioned the intensity of each game if you make it that the qualifiers are played within 1 month, and then the World Cup is every 2 years. That is actually one of the positives that Arsene Wenger and FIFA are arguing. And when I was reading that they think that making every game meaningful like that is good, I thought the same exact thing you did. Well, now the players are going to have to prepare even harder. They can't take a day off. They can't take a minute off, because we already know what's going to happen. They're going to get slandered. They're going to get slandered because that we know how it is. So in this Arsene Wenger world where the World Cup is played every 2 years, there will be no more international friendlies. There will be no more UEFA Nations League. Surely the Gold Cup, the Copa America, the Asian Cup, the African Cup of Nations, they're all going to disappear because it's only going to be World Cup and Euro. That's all I hear them talk about. So what does that mean for CONCACAF? What does that mean for Africa, for Asia, for CONMEBOL? Well, I think CONMEBOL will be okay because they can compete within each other. But what does it mean for Mexico? We've already seen it with Mexico. The level has drastically dropped. The level has really, really dropped in the last 4 or 5 years because they only play against CONCACAF competition. Very rarely do they play against European competition or South American competition. What's going to happen to a Japan? What's going to happen to to an Ivory Coast, a Nigeria, if they can't face Netherlands, Germany, Spain, Italy, Portugal, France, if they can't face them to prepare for these tournaments? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? So, yeah, of course, it is something to look at and to note that these players are going to prepare extra hard, or they're going to have to prepare extra hard for these games that have such meaning. But then you look at the bottom, and it looks like they just want to keep the power where it is right now. They don't want to move. They want the same 8 teams to win the World Cup every single time that it is played. They don't want a new champion. They don't want to give anyone else the opportunity to even get there. They're maintaining the power where it is now. Because let's be honest, only the teams with elite talent are going to be able to really truly compete in a World Cup every 2 years. It's not sustainable for Mexico, for a USA, for a Chile, for a Colombia, for a Nigeria, for an Ivory Coast, for a Japan, for a Korea. It's not sustainable for them. And it sounds like I'm inclusive in the sense that, oh, well, let's bring in more teams and let's have more people qualify, because I know that people are very, very drastic, and for them it's either black or white. I think 32 teams is more than enough. I think it might be too many, in my opinion. But it's also not right to keep the power where it is and only benefit the big dogs. If these teams are getting to a World Cup, they need to have a fighter's chance at least. And it feels like with hosting a World Cup every 2 years, you're taking away that chance. then if you take away that chance, what's the point of watching the World Cup if you're not going to see an upset? What's the point?